I think they were single use. Very nice to see everyone here today and to have a chance to first congratulate the recipients on receiving these prestigious fellowship awards. The chance to be able to go and study abroad is really a wonderful and life-changing experience for students. How many students here, I see people around them, but how many of your students are about to leave on to be one of our Wolfe Scholars? Just raise your hands. Probably good, that's good. Okay, and then how many have not been out of the country before? So, half or more have not been out of the country before, so it really is something you'll never forget. It's a wonderful, wonderful chance to really be able to see the world. I had in my office for many years, don't have it now, but had in my office for many years a map of the world, a flat map of the world that my wife had found for me after a discussion we'd had, and it was a projection which had south at the top and north at the bottom. And so that was what it had, south at the top and north at the bottom. And the reason we have north at the top and south at the bottom is because we do. It doesn't, there's no up as you're kind of walking around the universe. I guess you wouldn't walk around the universe, but as you're out there, there's no real orientation. So we've decided on an orientation, which is how we think things look. And if we just take this flat projection and turn it so that south is at the top, and there are maps that do that. And they're useful if you're, for instance, in the southern hemisphere. So you don't want to have to be looking at the bottom of the globe all the time. So I put a south projection up that was on my wall for years. And it was a topic of discussion. And one of the things that people would say often is that it was upside down. And for it to be upside down means that you have decided on an orientation that you're used to and that that's the correct and actual orientation, which in fact it's not the case, it's really arbitrary. And thinking a little bit about the way that we do things that are normal and appropriate and right and as they should be, that are really things that are arbitrary and that we've just decided as our own cultural norms, and they're so different when you go to some other place. In medicine, we were having a discussion at curriculum revision years ago, and we were looking at the curriculum and trying to make sure the curriculum was scientifically relevant and a whole bunch of other things like that. And we wanted it to be culturally relevant. And one of the anatomists said, well, we don't need to worry about that. There's not cultural relevance in anatomy. It's just a bone, and whatever. But then we were talking, we said, that people from different parts of the world are sort of different sizes. And so when the anatomist was talking, he was talking about childbirth in places where women have small pelvises and as an issue. And the fact is actually maybe those were the normal pelvises and that the pelvises he was used to were actually large pelvises. And it was just interesting that he was able to easily describe things from his perspective and point of view as though that were normal. But then when we think about it, it really wasn't normal for the overwhelming majority of people in the world. And so when you get a chance to go to another place and to be there and to live and to walk among the people and to see things that they're doing and get the idea that things can be different, it really is eye-opening and stimulating and helps to broaden the world for you. We have 33 students that we're honoring today in this year's Wolfe Study Abroad Scholarship Program. The program's been going on for 16 years. Amazing how time flies. And it's really, really pleased to be able to thank John F. Wolfe and the Dispatch for the work that has been done over all these years. To now nearly 400 students have had an opportunity to go overseas in one country or another and be able to train. So I want to just take a moment and stop and thank John F. Wolfe and the Wolfe family and the Dispatch. My wife was a study abroad student. I think maybe when we had lunch, I think we talked about this. She was a study abroad student when in college, and now goes almost every year to the same place that she still studies the language that she learned then and goes back routinely to visit. Our son actually went to the same country that my wife had studied in to do a fellowship after he finished law school, and so there's really a connection. We have a cousin who went to, was a basketball player, star at a medium-sized school, not quite NBA, but then went and played basketball in Europe for many years, and actually had succession of European wives, a couple of practice wives and a real wife, and has the real wife now who we like a lot. And well, I like the practice ones were good, but you gotta grow into these things. But anyway, he has a family, and so his kids, although they were born in this country, spent a lot of time being raised in France and then in Belgium, and we were able to visit them there and then go back and forth. So it's really as though our family has become more international, which is a great thing. So these experiences do more than just allow you, give you a chance to learn something about a particular topic or a particular language, but you learn a lot about cultures and people, and you learn a lot about yourselves, and I think you're able to carry that forward in your life forever, and it's a wonderful thing. When we talk about the university here, I get a chance to speak about the university from time to time, and there are 3 or 4 things that I think are really, really important for us as a university. We are a juggernaut, world-impacting research institution. We come up with new ideas and new approaches to things that change people's lives around the world every day, and that's really, really a magnificent part of us. One of the things that we're focusing more on lately is the quality and the texture and the sensitivity of our teaching, and making sure that we're teaching in a textured and sensitive way to be able to really get the best possible, produce and support the best possible educational outcomes for our students, and that means a lot. So we were talking at the table about some of you who are thinking about being teachers, being able to relate to people across cultural boundaries is a really, really important thing to do. And then when we go out into the world broadly, as our graduates go into the world is increasingly international. There are many more contacts with people who are different. And so the diversity on our campus is just such an important strength. There are lots of reasons to support diversity. One is social justice and fairness, and making sure that people from all corners of our society have an opportunity to cross that bridge of higher education into a more impactful and connected life. And so that's something we care a lot about. We want to be fair. We want to have a lot of impact when people leave us and be able to go out into the world and make a difference. But we also want this to be the most robust and nurturing learning environment that we can have. And having people from different points of view, different walks of life, different social circumstances come and live and learn and work together really helps us all be much more well-rounded and allows us to be able to address and to impact and to connect with the world in a much more fluid and positive way. So let me finish where I began by thanking and congratulating the students who are the recipients of the scholarship awards this year. That's really wonderful. And then thanking and acknowledging, as I get to do this many times, I get to thank and acknowledge my friend John F. Wolfe, who has been such a stalwart supporter of this university and this community for so many years. We have wonderful discussions about things as broad as football and your first football games. And let me say that you would have been proud of our players and the community, the way we were welcomed by the president on Monday. The team had roughly half an hour or so with the president on Monday. He spoke to each individual member of the team and then addressed a group of coaches and families for another 15 or so minutes, but he addressed each and shook the hand of each individual player. And the number of people who get to have that much time with the President of the United States in their lives is a tiny fraction, and we were happy to see him reflected that way, or reflect on us. But he also was reflecting on the quality of our university and the impact that our university has on the world. And I know that the impact that we have on the world is really enhanced immeasurably by the focused support that we have from people like Mr. Wolfe, who really has done so much for us for so many years, and we really do appreciate that. And I want to stop and take one more second to acknowledge and thank you for that, if I may. And now, if I may, I'd like to invite you to the podium to make a few comments. Ladies and gentlemen, John F. Wolfe.